You ever wonder about Sodom and Gomorrah? Why, how two complete cities were completely destroyed? I've wondered that. Like, what did they do? What were they doing? What was going on that made God so mad where he just said, all right, enough of this, and destroyed them completely? Um, we're going to go through that today. To try to answer some of those questions and maybe get a better understanding. I got a little bit of more understanding at the same time, still a few concerns or inquiries, as I may say. This is Dubious Scriptures, and I am Mr. Unique Thought. And that's what I do. I think uniquely and differently and alternatively, not to be a challenge, but just for my own, to clear up my own confusions. These videos, again, are going to be raw with errors and things of that nature. Yes, you're going to hear me fumble through some readings, etc. With these topics, I generally love to cover both the King James Version, as you see in my background there, as well as the New World Translation of Holy Scriptures. Today, I'll be reading only from the New World Translations because I fumble way too much in the King James Versions. Both Bibles do say the same things. They convey the same message, just with different wording. So I do apologize to everyone out there who prefers the King James Version. Before I get started again, I want to share this with everyone that I do greatly respect the meaning that the Bible is to so many, and I'm genuinely interested in just better understanding of it. This is an extremely touchy subject, I know for all, and I never ever intend on offending anyone, even though I may still do so. So I apologize for any offenses. However, this is always mainly to just simply get an alternate understanding, a better understanding. And yes, it's about opinion and inquiries, which is what I have. Inquiries and just my opinions, but that doesn't mean it's everyone's opinion. It's just how it's my take on things, etc. I prefer this to be insightful and invite dialogue over debate. Finally, I strongly believe the Word, which is the Bible. It has great intentions, but I do believe man changed a lot of things for their own benefit, etc., for their own gains and control and power, of course. Even though this, again, is challenging, I do want to present this and state my concerns or share my thoughts, etc. So again, I apologize in advance to anyone who I may offend. So again, Sodom and Gomorrah, one of those fascinating stories in the Bible. What was going on in Sodom and Gomorrah, and just what angered God so greatly? Well, let's start. We're going to go to Genesis chapter 18, verse 20 through 21. As I read, you can follow along if you like. But here we go. It says, chapter 18, verse 20 and 21. Then Jehovah said, the outcry against Sodom and Gomorrah is indeed great, and their sin is very heavy. I will go down to see whether they are acting according to the outcry that has reached me, and if not, I can get to know it. So my first concern there, very briefly, is he's God. He knows everything. I think God wouldn't have to physically go down, come down here to earth and see what's true. He knows everything. He can see from afar. He created everything that exists. Like, all that we see was created by God. So how is this? I don't know. I think that's something man may have tampered with. I don't know. So just moving forward, chapter 19, verse 4 through 11. So 19 says, Before they could lie down to sleep, the men of the city, the men of Sodom, from boy to old man, all of them surrounded the house in one mob. And they kept calling out to Lot, saying to him, Where are the men who came into you tonight? Bring them out to us so that we may have sex with them. What? Okay, so continuing, then Lot went out to them to the doorway, and he shut the door behind him. He said, "Please, my brothers, do not act wickedly. Please, here I have two daughters who have never had sexual relations with a man. Please let me bring them out to you for you to do. For you to do to them whatever seems good to you. But do not do anything to these men, for they have come under the shelter of my roof." At this, they said, "Stand back." And they added, "This lone foreigner came to live here, and yet he dares to judge us? Now we are going to do worse to you than to them." And they crowded in on Lot and moved forward to break down the door. Wow. So the men reached out their hands and brought Lot into the house with them, and they shut the door. But they struck the men who were at the entrance of the house with blindness, from least to the greatest, so that they wore themselves out trying to find the doorway. Okay, so here's my concern with that verse. The men that the verse was speaking of, they were two angels that came to visit Lot to tell him to take his family and leave because God was going to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah. Again, they're angels. There's nothing mortal man can do to them that they can't just, that'll hurt them. They can't hurt angels. So that bothers me. Now, based on based on the verses, Lot knew they were angels. He knew they were angels. So at the same time, he should know that those angels couldn't be hurt by mortal man. He bowed his head when they came. It's in the Bible. I didn't read that verse, but it's in there. He bowed his head. He knew who they were. And the angels themselves seemingly should have spoken up and said, "Hey, you don't need to protect us. We don't need to stay in your house. We want to stay in the square of the area, like it says in the Bible. They want to stay in the town square. We don't need to do all that." But again, the Bible makes no mention of them saying, "You don't need to do all that. You know better." None of that, which is surprising. My second, probably greatest concern would be Lot offering up his two daughters, who he said were virgins. Now, again, this is a mob who obviously have been practicing some pretty harsh treatments. If they told him to bring the two men out to visit him so they can have sex with them. Obviously, this was going to be a gang rape or something of that nature, and they were going to try to do all type of horrible things to these two men, a whole mob. And they said from boy to old man. So it's like, oh my goodness. For them to make that threat is obviously something they practiced before. At least it's just my take on it. You don't say something like that unless you've thought about it. This is how we're gonna punish these clowns. It's very just striking. So for Lot to offer his blood daughters up for the mob to do what they will, as he said, do what you feel or what you want to do with what's good to you. These are his daughters. It's like you're offering up your daughters to these men to do whatever with them. Like, again, okay, you're trying to protect angels that didn't need protection. As the verse says, when the men entered the house or tried to enter the house, whatever, the angels used their angelic powers and blinded every one of them so they could not even find the doorway. Again, it's like, what? Did Lot not know they had some type of mystical angel powers to stop these men to try to ever perform any harm to them? I don't know. My other question is, because the Bible did not say, these angels obviously made themselves look like normal men. Not that I know how an angel looks, but it's just a point. They obviously look like mortal men for the mob to even say, "Hey, the two men that came to your house, blah, blah, blah." So let me just get off of that. I'm bouncing around here. Back to the poor daughters, innocent daughters who were virgins. Have we ever considered how they may have felt when their own father offered them up so easily like that to protect these men, these angels? That's got to be mentally traumatizing. Like, man, Dad just gonna give me up like that? Like, and if I'm a virgin, like, they're not gonna be gentle with me. So for this to be my first time by complete strangers, I'm gonna get, I'm not gonna enjoy it. So it's like all these things just they bother me that these things are in this book. And Lot's mind state, his mind frame, it's like, what was he thinking to offer his children up like that? So that bothers me, and I'm sure some others out there, you got to feel the same way. I'm like, wow, I would never offer my children up to men. Anyway, so moving forward, these were some of the acts that these men were obviously practicing in Sodom and Gomorrah that unpleased God, and he was aware of this. So my question is, wow, like, okay, moving forward. So we're going to go to now Leviticus chapter 18, verses 22 through 25. So in Leviticus, um, sorry, again, raw, uncut, will not be edited. Leviticus chapter 18, verse 22 through 25. It says, "You must not lie down with a male in the same way that you lie down with a woman. It is a detestable act." Now, moving forward, verse 23, "A man must not have sexual intercourse with an animal to become unclean by it, nor should a woman offer herself to an animal to have intercourse with it. It is a violation of what is natural. So, do not make yourselves unclean by any of these things, for it is by all things that the nations that I am driving out from before you, you have made themselves unclean. Therefore, the land is unclean, and I'm sorry, I will bring punishment on. See, I'm messing up with the regular with this other Bible. I will bring punishment on it for this error, and the land will vomit its inhabitants out. So even though I fumbled through that, you get the message. God did not like what was occurring, and he was going to destroy the actual land, since he said the land itself had become unclean. So if these men were practicing things of that nature, there's no telling what else they were doing out there, because it wasn't just unapproved sexual acts. There were other things they were doing as well. To continue, Leviticus chapter 20, verse 13 through 16. In chapter 20, to start at 13, it says, "If a man lies down with a male, the same as one lies down with a woman, both of them have done a detestable thing. They should be put to death without fail. Their own blood is upon them. If a man takes a woman and her mother, it is an obscene act. They should be burnt. They should burn him and them in the fire. And that obscene conduct may not continue among you." 15 says, "If a man has intercourse with a beast, he should be put to death without fail, and you should kill the beast. If a woman approaches any beast to have intercourse with it, you must kill the woman and the beast. They should be put to death without fail. Their own blood is upon them." That sounds pretty serious. And I wonder, were they practicing these acts too in Sodom and Gomorrah that made, again, God so angry at them?